Great show this week. Jarret Gahan is back.
We have a chat with Josh Ruben, the director of Hard Eyes.
What are the best movies from 1995?
And the 90s cult classics, Judgement Day versus Trespass.
And I'm going to do a backflip off the desk live. Another week, another boatload of nerdy cinematic ramblings.
Correct.
Welcome to Good Movie Monday. I am your host, Ben Hellwig, and I'm joined by Glenn Cochran.
Sometimes you got to switch it up, don't you?
Yeah.
Boatload, I like that.
I'm trying to be TikTok friendly.
Otherwise, every single intro we do is interchangeable, really.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much it. That's what it is.
So stupid.
If this is your first time listening to the show, why don't you go to goodmoviemonday.com, where you'll find all of our old episodes, all of our many, many interviews, links to all our social media platforms, and if you search hard enough, I can't remember what the Easter egg thing is that I've put there.
It's something like KFC and OnlyFans,
yeah.
Combination of both.
It was a gag from years ago, and no one ever found the Easter egg anyway. So
no, it's one of those Easter eggs you find at your nana's house like 4 years later.
Yeah,
behind a fern.
it's gone off.
Yeah, that's right.
Because what's okay today is cancel worthy tomorrow. So might have to do a bit of cleaning.
Yeah, I reckon. Fucking hell. We've got to find the Easter egg.
Yeah, well, I can't remember where I put it. We've had a fun week this week.
Oh man, I'd forgotten about it until you brought it up. Man,
we went to the cinemas twice, though we were only supposed to go once.
Well, technically, we only went to the cinemas once.
We were at the cinemas.
Yeah.
We just didn't see anything. We didn't enter them. We got a little mix up with the dates. We thought we were going to see the new Karate Kid movie.
Yeah, I got there and there's no fanfare, there's no media wall, there's nothing. And I said to the girl at the front, I said, I'm here for Karate Kid. Where should I wait? Oh, just over there. So my wife and I, we went in, waited in front of that, that waiting area at Melbourne Central's got a big screen. We're just sitting there. There's nobody else around. And I thought, there's something's not right about this. So I looked up my invite and I looked at my wife and I'm like, how do I break it to her? I'm like, how we just spent like over an hour getting here? Well, we're a week early.
If I was you, I just would have gone. I'll be right back, and just gone to the counter and bought 2 tickets.
And Nelly did. We went and did some shopping, but my second thought was, now I've got to break it to Ben. Yeah. I'm like, well, I know that he came into the city and made a day of it. He had lunch with somebody, so at least his time is not as wasted as mine.
I did catch up with a friend, but I did get mugged at the car park. But $19 was the price of parking in the city for the day. We're at a location where it used to be $10.
Yeah,
so it's almost 100. It's a 90% increase, which I found very, very disappointing. But then I made the most of it. I did catch up with a friend. We had TGI Fridays for lunch, which is also now at TGI Fridays you pay $8.95 for a Coke, and the menu is about a quarter of what it once was. There's no flair on the walls anymore. So I don't know what the TGI experience is. You might as well just go to Betty's Burgers. Well,
they should just call it it's Friday. Not thank God it's Friday. It should just be it's Fridays.
Yeah, and I guess the rule is don't go to TGI Fridays on a Saturday.
That's right, because they got nothing left. That's the problem.
There's nothing there.
And my favourite part of this story, of course, is you went up to the same girl and said that you're here for the Karate Kid screening.
And yeah, I went up to the same girl and she was like, I don't know what you're talking about, and just basically said, go away.
I'm surprised she didn't say, where those people are over there.
Yeah, she did know. She let you through, did not let me through.
So that was my bad. But then we had another dilemma.
Did we?
So we had another cinema screening to go to, and we both decided to take the public transport.
Yes.
And we hopped on a train. We both took separate trains because you got in there a little bit earlier than me. And it wasn't until after the fact that we're on the trains that we realised that the services are terminated on the way home, and we would have to get a train bus type of situation. It said it was over 2 hours for me to get home.
Yeah. The weird thing is too, I guess because it was a Monday night. I think it was a Monday, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, it was a Monday night. When your lovely wife actually came and picked us up because we're babies who didn't want to do the bus.
So I said a bit.
The
Hold that thought.
the bus home. But when you guys dropped me off at the station and I went to pick up my car, the bus went past and there was no one on it.
Oh, so it would have been.
So it would have been fine. I could have just. There would have been no stops.
Don't tell my wife that.
No, she's going to get a lovely takeaway. I promised her a takeaway dinner. I should have done it tonight.
Yeah,
should have done the takeaway dinner tonight. But Sean wasn't home.
Yeah,
would have been the perfect night for it.
It would have been.
I can't afford Sean's takeaway dinner. But
Sean being my stepson for those playing at home. Anyway. But that night we did go and see
Bring Her Back, the new Philippou movie.
Yes,
Brothers Philippou.
Absolutely loved it. They've outdone themselves with this one. I liked Talk to Me a lot more than you did. You liked it though.
Oh no, I really liked Talk to Me.
Someone I spoke to said that. Maybe it was someone I work with said that they didn't think as much of it as I did. But I love Talk to Me, but I think this is a better film. I don't think it's immediately as watchable as Talk to Me, because Talk to Me kind of just has a real rhythm and a flow, and it just moves at a nice pace. This one is a lot deeper, a lot more subtext and whatnot.
Yeah, I think, Talk to Me is a bunch of, has a lot of scenes of teens getting drunk and getting up to hijinks. This is much more of a kind of a drama.
Yeah. And that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this one, you know what the best part... I mean, everything is good about this. The performances, the writing, the direction, everything is pitch perfect. And it's almost disappointing because you watch this and you're like, why isn't every film as good as this?
Yeah. It's
and then
deeply disturbing too.
Yeah. And you see these guys on The Project and stuff like that, and they come across as idiots.
Yeah.
Yet they're savants.
The first thing both of us said coming out of this is like, amazing film, but how did it come from their heads?
Yeah. I don't get it.
No.
But look, the best thing about it, and I wonder if you can guess what I'm going to say.
No, I can't.
The best thing about it is that it goes for 99 minutes.
I should have known. Yeah, it's a nice
99 minutes.
Film.
Take fucking note.
Everybody.
It doesn't need to be 3 fucking hours.
People have been so conditioned. There's a whole generation of like young people that are conditioned to have long films now, which is beyond like comprehensible to me. Like, I saw someone like apologizing for the fact that the new Karate Kid was only 90 minutes. Like, look, bear with us. Like, it's only 90 minutes, but and it's like there's no but required. That's the selling point.
That, if anything, that's 10 minutes too long. 80 minutes.
Oh my goodness! But,
all the movies that movie nerds grew up loving. 80 to 90 minutes.
Sally Hawkins is fantastic in this film. Like, she does a great Aussie accent, but she just has a nice. Her character arc is juicy, delicious.
It's
like,
great.
Yeah.
But how good is Sarah Wong,
the young lead, I guess you'd
the
say.
lead?
Yeah.
Like, out of nowhere, she is great.
Yeah.
And the brother is fantastic too.
And that's see the Philippou brothers, or Raka Raka as some people call them. They're the new Tarantino in that they're launching careers. Like, cause, they're discovering these young actors who, because their films are just going like boom, straight to the top of Hollywood's, fucking, what do you call it? Popularity. I don't know. I've lost my train of thought, but but they're shooting these young guys into the stratosphere.
A couple of the girls from Talk to Me are like, because at work, there's where I work, there's production stuff going on in the background that I'm not particularly involved in, but it's in with the company.
Yeah.
And those two girls are too expensive for us.
Yeah.
And we're talking like we're decent budgeted films, but too expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this one is a Sony film, and this one got its premiere in Hollywood. Like, even though it's a shot in Adelaide production, we're still not getting first dibs. It's like they've really hit their stride. It's great to see. I'm very keen to see where they're going next. Even when I spoke to them like a couple of years ago for Talk to Me, they were joking about having written a rom-com, but they've brought that up again. Yeah. Like in interviews, and I feel like they're serious that they've actually got a rom-com in their belt.
I just don't see. I don't see why they couldn't.
Yeah, I'd love to see where they are in 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
exciting stuff.
Can I just say before we move on, something else I watched this week because I was really in the mood for another sort of adventure treasure hunt kind of film, right? And it was going to be my recommendation. I've been looking forward to this for months. It's the new Guy Ritchie Fountain of Youth.
Oh, I haven't seen this yet.
It's a new Indiana Jones style of movie with John Krasinski and Natalie Portman and a bunch of others.
Are you about to ruin this for me?
No, I'm not going to give it away or anything like that. But I didn't like it.
Like it?
No, it's another Uncharted type of. Like, it just gets a bit too sweat. Why do these treasure hunt movies always have to end with something like fantastic? Like it has to be mystical and magical, and it can't just be like an actual thing. Like, you know.
But it's the fountain of youth, though.
Yeah,
right?
but that's the problem, right? Is
Right.
They're chasing the fountain of youth, but when they get to the fountain of youth, and that's not a spoiler because you know they're going to get there, right? It is just magical, like
Right.
la 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 la, and
Yeah, why can't it just be like the cup from Last Crusade?
yeah.
It's the ordinary cup because Jesus was a carpenter.
But even then, I feel like, you know, Indiana Jones established the whole mystical side of things, right? Like we expect that from Indiana Jones, but that doesn't mean every other treasure hunt movie needs to be that way.
But most of his stuff, you know, the funny thing when you think about with Indiana Jones, like if you don't take into account the last two films, just the original kind of trilogy, only the Catholic stuff is real.
Yeah, I know.
The Christian stuff, the Kali cult is all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, for sure.
I never realized that before. It's very, very racist. But then, you know, that's my favorite kind of thing about that was listening to Mark Maron talk to William Friedkin about The Exorcist, and he's like, you know, how all the Catholics were protesting it, and he's like, I just didn't understand it because it meant that what they believed was real.
That's right.
Not only was it real, but that the priesthood had the muscle to deal with it.
It reaffirms everything.
Yeah. Like they should be patting us on the back.
They're the first ones to say, you know, the devil's in you, and you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, fucking hell. So
Yeah, right. But you know, look, I think Guy Ritchie. I think is it a rule of 6? Once every 6 films, it's fucking great.
Look, it's got an incredible opening sequence. It's very Indiana Jones, like that kind of opening where it's a chase sequence, but it's done really fucking well. And my hopes were so high watching it. I'm like, oh, this is great. Because it's like almost Indiana Jones in our modern world. But yeah, where it goes from there is a bit disappointing. And maybe they should have kept that one to 90 minutes and it might have fared a bit better.
Yeah. You have ruined it for me now, thanks.
Physical media is very important, kids. One day, maybe the cloud ain't there. How are you going to watch Dogma?
Being able to hold it in your hand and see the artwork and the posters and have the names, it's it's a real thing.
It's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your fucking telephone. Get real.
Somebody had a birthday last week, Ben.
It was me.
No,
it wasn't.
I missed that one.
It was my wife. She had a birthday, and so did my father-in-law. They both had birthdays. That's the only birthdays we speak of.
Happy birthday,
we don't talk about.
Daddy.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I won't say how old I'm getting, but needless to say, I think I might have actually hit middle age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think we all have hit that point now, haven't we?
Yes.
Was it a concern when you first got together with your lovely wife? Did it go across your mind that your birthdays are so close together, so you're gonna have to share? You're not even gonna get no, you cook today because it's my birthday. When
I looked at the promise of us going away on our birthday and being able to spend some, and we did do that. We've done that in the past. Obviously, that's a thing of the past now. Would have been great if we'd had our daughter maybe around the 29th or the 30th of May, and then we could have gone away and we could have, for your birthday present, we're going to take you to LA, take you to Universal Studios and Disneyland. Hasn't paired up that way, but, you know, hey, look. I mean, April's not that far from May anyway, but thank you guys for the well wishes. I appreciate it.
You can just stay on holiday for the whole period,
entire month. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm down for it. It just depends what kind of shape the US is in by the time we're ready to travel. There's probably going to be a tariff on my luggage, so I don't know.
Yeah. Or not.
Or not.
Case may be,
yeah. It's a daily thing.
You are here, as always, for your monthly roundup, or it's not even a roundup anymore. It's a forecast of what's coming.
Yeah,
it is. Media. And it's a crafted, or should I say, curated pick of releases that are coming. I rarely mention any DVDs. Obviously, there are exceptions. Last month we had Rust.
Yep.
I felt compelled to talk about that one. And then this month there is a DVD I will mention. And purely because I believe that you gentlemen may be having a special guest from that movie on your program.
Awesome.
Might even be on this episode. I don't know. Oh, God. Anyway, gentlemen, it is an exciting month of releases. But, look, I'm probably going to talk about more of the repertory content, the stuff that's coming out on disc, but for the first time on 4K locally. So some of this stuff has been out overseas on 4K for a while. But thanks to the almighty AID, who are doing a terrific job of getting this back catalogue stuff out. They're not necessarily the greatest job in terms of packaging, because I did see the back of that backdraft release. And
Yeah.
it was something else.
And why didn't they include Backdraft 2, damn it?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, look, if Viavision did it, there might have been a chance we could have got Backdraft 2 on there. But I do want to make one correction, because I was in a JB Hi-Fi recently during, of course, their buy one, get one free sale, which I went a little bit crazy on it.
Daddy had time for that.
I made time for that. Actually, no, that's what I did do. Did I do that for my birthday? Yeah, I did, because we had to go to JB Hi-Fi to buy Danny's dad a gift. And I didn't leave empty-handed. No, I left with the George Peppard and another box set, the Sydney J. Fury box set. So, yeah, needless to say, I spent a couple $100 at the old JB for the buy one, get one free. But one thing I did notice is that the recent AID releases of, I think wasn't Philadelphia, it was Snatch, and there was another title. And it did turn out they ended up releasing the 4K Blu-ray components. So it did mean you get all the special features. Initially, the art that I had seen had said 4K only.
Yeah.
So anyway, hats off to them. At least they're getting those special features out there. I dare say they won't do it on the releases I want. They'll always do it on things that have been around for a million years. But regardless, good work, guys. And they've got a ton of stuff coming out this month.
I've literally spent the entire day today working on looking up extra features and what extra features are available and what's going around. And it's shocking the amount of times that the press release doesn't actually contain half of the things.
I find quite often they will say,
disc.
and more coming soon, or to be announced.
To be announced. You're like,
damn it.
When? It came out 2 weeks ago. Why haven't you updated this?
Well, the biggest mystery out there regarding special features in a release is, I believe it's coming out July 2nd, so we are jumping a month ahead, but that James Bond collection, the Sean Connery James Bond collection, that's coming out July 2nd, although Roadshow's being a bit cagey about it and, putting the date out there, but it's July 2nd. And that release, nowhere has there been revealed what special feature content's going to be on there, where we know that it's got Dolby Vision, but we don't know if they're brand new 4K scans from the original camera negative. They've been a bit cagey about releasing any of the details. And it's an odd release because it's like a co-pro between Warner, MGM, and Amazon, and then locally distributed through Roadshow. But it's coming out globally, roughly around the same time. And everyone's wondering the same thing. Are these brand new transfers? Are they the same transfers?
They just revealed the cover art, and I quite like it. It's like
I'm a fan too. There's a lot of backlash, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think
it's a good take. But yeah, look, I actually I pre-ordered a copy of that.
Of course you did.
But, I know that I'm doing the same thing that, I probably almost did when Rocky came out and they released Rocky and then released Rocky 1 to 4 and you couldn't get 5 and 6. Now they're doing the Bonds, so we'll buy all the Connery Bonds and then by the end of the year they'll probably release the complete Bond box set. Like they're doing the Nightmare on Elm Street. Like that's coming in September, October.
Yep.
Complete Elm Street, but they fooled everyone into buying just Elm Street alone. But I took the bait, and I mean, look, the Connery ones are the best Bonds in my opinion. The Connery and the Timothy Dalton ones, which is probably controversial, but I really like the Timothy Dalton Bond.
This conversation has just been in circles for the past month. Ben and I have had this conversation a few times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Excellent. Oh, there you go. My ears were burning. But yeah, that release is the most interesting one because we're almost a month out from it dropping locally. We're less than a month out of it dropping in the UK and the US, and it's still a bit of a mystery as to what it is. And people are paying up, large sums of money for this box. I mean, they're doing oh my God, in the UK they're doing a steelbook version, and the steelbook art is hideous. Like if they were using the original theatrical key art, amazing. But no, they're doing this anyway. I'm glad they're not doing that locally. So yes, I did pre-order that one, and I was like, you know what, it's probably going to drop around at 20% off or a sale here or there. I go, the price is right, I'm keen, and I have it on good authority, they will have Atmos. So that was what got me over the line. Classic Bond in Atmos. But anyway, that's jumping into July. So moving back to June, First week of June, June 4th, we've got a bunch of releases coming out. Got Mickey 17, which admittedly I didn't catch theatrically. Did you guys go to a preview of this one?
We did indeed.
IMAX, wasn't it?
I can't remember if it was IMAX or
think it was.
I loved it. I
either-
love that you go to the movies that often. You can't even remember if you saw something in IMAX.
It was either.
Well, we don't particularly prefer IMAX. That's
The funny
problem.
thing is, in
No,
my head,
same,
it was
likewise.
either IMAX or the backlot. So it's either the biggest screen in Australia or the smallest.
Yeah, look.
But the beauty of the backlot is if you sit close enough to the front, it's almost like IMAX.
It's like being at IMAX,
because the cinema's quite small.
I had mixed feelings about Mickey 17. I liked half of it and didn't like the other half.
I thoroughly enjoyed
and
it.
Ben thought more
was
of
great.
it.
Was the first half the half you liked, Glenn? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, fair enough then. Yeah, all right. Well, I won't know till I get to the middle if I'm going to like it or not. I won't blind buy it. I'm going to stream it, and we'll see how I go.
I won't take that personally.
No. Well, you know, I might be on the Glenn camp, or I could be in the Ben camp. We'll see. Mickey 17. Looking forward. Just coming out on 4K Blu-ray and DVD. Of course, the 4K is going to have Atmos. So, look, if it had come out during the buy one get one free, I would have blind bought it.
Yeah.
Just for that Atmos, but it didn't. So I'm just going to wait it out. Hey. Quick admission, I did buy Wolfman on 4K. I know I slagged it, but I did read the commentary track is supposed to be fantastic. And so as long as it includes an apology, I'm keen to listen to it.
And my interview with Lee got you across the line, didn't it?
It did
Absolutely.
indeed. I saw it on the YouTube the other day. In fact, I dropped by the YouTube briefly because Owen at Via Vision, he wanted me to send a link talking about the Man Bites dog. And so when I saw that, I realised I was very conscious of, I'm going to keep my hands down because I feel like I'm doing this throughout the entire thing, like just scratching at my face. Must have been Lee Winnell's Wolfman or something like that. I don't know. But anyway. But yeah, moving on. So Mickey 17's coming out same week. We've got Hard Eyes. Unfortunately, this one's only coming out in Blu-ray and DVD. I was actually a big fan of this one. I didn't expect to like it, but I didn't expect it was going to be a rom-com slasher. I thought it was just going to be a, light kind of comedy slasher.
These titles being this week, right? Yeah. They're dropping this week.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm living in the future. Yes, they're out this Wednesday. If you're listening right now and it's Monday, they're out Wednesday.
And of course,
but if you're
Josh
listening
Ruben,
any day
director
past
of
that-
Hard Eyes, is on this show.
He's on this show.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, there you go.
That's perfectly aligned.
When are we going to hear from the actress from Natty Knox?
Oh,
Natty
yes,
Knox.
that's coming up. That's a
That's
couple
another
weeks
one.
away.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, anyway, well, that's just as well because that one's not coming out for a couple of weeks. But I will touch on it, obviously, because I'm only here once a month. But yes, so Hard Eyes. I was a big fan. Did you guys?
Yeah,
You guys would have
enjoyed
obviously
it.
seen this one theatrically. Yeah, I just watched it on streaming, as is the case. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
I think knowing that it's a comedy from a director that makes comedy horror
Yes.
makes it a better film. I think if you go
Yeah.
in expecting it just to be a regular slasher, you might be disappointed.
Yeah. But it's pretty obvious right from, I guess, it's about expectations.
Oh, that
but
opening sequence is
it's pretty-
fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hooks you straight in. But it is funny actually seeing Josh sort of transition from like an indie filmmaker. Like Werewolves Within was probably a bit broader, not like Scare Me, which was definitely, an indie type film. But this one is that broader sort of more studio appeal, and he really works in both, sort of realms quite well. But I loved it. Like I said, I'm probably just going to wait it out because I hope that someone's going to do a 4K release of it.
He's a
at some
genuinely
point.
down-to-earth guy too, and I think that's what makes me like his films even more.
Yeah. And you've interviewed him a couple times now.
Yeah,
haven't you?
yeah. He's one of us.
Yeah, excellent. That's what you like to hear. Anyway, that one's coming out, Blu-ray, DVD, but like I said, hopefully a 4K is on the way at some point. I mean, it's Universal. Universal are pretty, known for dropping Blu-rays and then 4K 4 to 6 months later in the States and the UK, so it may happen. Also, we've got Wake in Fright that's coming out for the first time at 4K UHD. This is the 4K restoration coming out from Umbrella in a spectacular edition. I do have a special feature on this one. I shot it. That was all I did. I didn't have to do anything other than shoot it. But it was with Philippe Mora and what's his name again? Not John Harrison. No, who's the film buffs guy? Harris. Paul Harris. That's it. Yeah. Baby brain. But yeah, I shot something with them, which was terrific because he had a lot of great anecdotes about Donald Pleasance and having worked with him on other films. But I don't know how much of it made the cut because I don't know how much you can kind of get away with saying. I know that Donald's leftist, but still some of the stuff I don't know. Anyway, regardless, afterward I asked him a lot of questions about Howling 2. which was fantastic. I just had a one-on-one about Howling 2.
Who ended up cutting it?
I don't know. Mark, maybe?
Yeah,
Mark
right.
Hartley, maybe? I don't know. Does Mark edit stuff as well?
He does, yeah. He would, and he was working on this. I just didn't think he was working on it to that level.
Inside information for everybody watching.
Yeah.
Inside baseball. There is a beautiful Q&A, probably one of the last Q&As that the director did at Monster Fest, which would have been a great inclusion. Unfortunately, it just didn't make the cut. But who knows? Maybe it'll turn up on an international release down the track. But for now,
I mean, he could be the lead in Weekend at Bernie's 2 or 3, I should say.
Yeah, Weekend at Ted's.
Weekend at Ted's.
We doesn't have to answer any of those rumours about what happened on the set of First Blood.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
With Sylvester.
It's a shame,
and the,
actually, that Ted didn't stick around long enough to give us that special edition of Weekend at Bernie's, because I think, Weekend Friday, it's fantastic to have an ultimate release of that, but we've had some pretty good releases of that as time's gone on, but we haven't had an ultimate edition of Weekend at Bernie's as yet.
The cover could be made of like hot tar.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be amazing. I'm so in for that. And if Viavision release it, maybe they can put Weekend at Bernie's 2 in there.
Oh my God.
That would be great.
Actually, Viavision have the rights to Weekend at Bernie's because they did do a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking at the time, this would have been a great addition in the imprint set. Like, it could have been completely off,
Off-brand.
No one would have anticipated that one. No one. There's been some interesting releases in the imprint collection, though. Like, Let's Get Harry was a bit of an odd inclusion. And the Juror, I mean, I like these movies, don't get me wrong, but they are odd inclusions. Yeah.
It's so hard to tell what's the difference between a Viavision title and an imprint title, and how it all works.
Well, it's strange too, because there's some really great Viavision releases that they've commissioned special features for, and they're terrific editions.
Loads.
And you're like, why wasn't this an imprint release? Like, I don't know what the science is behind it, but look, I applaud them because, I'll buy whatever they put out as long as they keep putting out good stuff.
Yep.
Actually, I've got something I want to talk about, one of their releases, and it's not something they sent me. It's something I paid my own hard cash for, but I want to talk about. But I'm going to save that for the end.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. So we've got Spit that's coming out. Now, this is the sequel character sequel to Getting Square, which is coming out through Viavision, funnily enough, on Blu-ray and DVD. And they're releasing Getting Square for the first time on Blu-ray as well, which is great. I haven't seen Spit yet, but I was a huge fan of Getting Square. So
and they've packaged both of these to be similar, like they in a collection.
Yeah, they've got these kind of cool, retro sort of beach art kind of covers.
Ben and I watched Spit together. We enjoyed it.
Mm.
Yeah. Did you see it at IMAX?
We saw it in the Eye Lounge. Just over there
on the other side
of that wall.
Yeah, right. Oh well, no better place to watch.
But it gave us a few belly laughs. Like, it's got some great one-liners and some zingers in there. Yeah,
and he's wearing some magnificent pants in the film. Yeah. There's lots of magnificent
David
pants.
Wenham. He's just a fantastic actor, and he really embodies that character with huge gusto. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Then we've also got, now these are exciting ones coming out from AID, coming from the Universal Library. Jaws 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I did pick these up a while ago from the States.
Yeah.
And I went straight to Jaws 3 because I had a bit of a fever for Dennis Quaid at the time and wanted to watch Jaws 3. I hadn't seen it for a while. Plus, I wanted to see what all of this AI upscaled sort of business happening with the crowd in the background was like, and if I'd even noticed it. I sure enough noticed it. Like, they've done a good restoration, but when it's a film of the Jaws 3D nature, the way it was shot with the cameras they shot, I just think they should have just left it grainy as all hell on the background rather than they did this processing and distorted faces.
Have they tried to, like, with the upgrade, have they tried to smooth over those 3D effects and sort of, tone them down a bit? No? Still in your face?
Not in the least. Not in the least. No, they look just as bad, if not worse, because now they're in 4K sharp clarity. Every line, no.
I just
they spent all the money doing the AI on the people in the background. They're like, they look like, what's his name from RoboCop?
Clarence.
Clarence,
I just think if you're going to fuck around with an old film, do it for streaming. For the physical collectors, leave them as that, because they want the one that they saw when it came out.
Yeah.
Or when they were a kid. They don't want, let the new generation who will watch it on Netflix or Amazon Prime, let them have the fiddled with one.
I mean, and the thing is, they're not even probably
molested
going to
one.
watch it. They're going to have their phone in their hands or doing other things while the film's
Yeah,
not
they
giving
won't
it
even
their
notice
attention
it.
anyway. So they won't notice. It'll just fly by. Actually, just quickly going back, I talked about Hard Eyes before. I did watch another contemporary slasher in a very similar vein to that new Netflix Fear Street one.
Oh yeah,
I
Prom
looking
Night.
forward to that. I
Prom
haven't seen it
Queen.
yet.
Yeah, haven't watched
Prom
it yet
Queen.
either.
Oh, I watched it last night. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, look, I'm not going to hype you up because it's a very average film, but it delivers on all fronts. It's very gory.
It's
and
not
funny.
connected to the other Fear Street stories.
No,
Yeah, I was really
as if it's just an R.L. Stein,
Yeah, cool.
one of the Fear Street books adapted to feature. But yeah, no, I liked it. It's for what it is. It's a lot of fun. I didn't take it very seriously, and I enjoyed every second of it. And it felt short. I think it ran at like less than 90 minutes. It was
Awesome.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I was really disappointed that Lee Janiak wasn't back behind the camera, like because she did the last three.
Yeah,
and
I
I thoroughly enjoyed.
I think
those.
that the last three were essentially one project. I think now moving forward,
Yes.
it's just going to be a new movie every year or two.
Totally.
From
I
the
think
Fear
they're
Street
commissioning
label.
a new writer-director to do
Yeah.
each one as such, which is, I'm all down for because it keeps a kind of an anthology nature.
Well, it
of
might
that.
also
It
be a
should lot of
good
fun.
stepping stone into the business for a lot of up and coming filmmakers.
Oh, 100%. Oh, man, and there's look, I don't want to ruin a thing, but there's a really great referenced actually multiple times and really overtly as well, a film that we actually, funnily enough, played at the Weekender recently. But I'll leave it with you guys to find out that yourself. So moving on, we've got one of the releases. Now, I'm sure that you've got her, Danielle Harris, on at some point.
In a
to
couple
talk
of
about
weeks'
this
time.
movie.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Natty Knox. That's a DVD only release coming out. Is that coming out through Eagle, Glenn?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. No, it was good to see Eagle releases when I went into the JB, front-facing Eagle releases and DVDs, because not often you see a DVD front-facing at the JB Hi-Fi. The real estate is a premium, so more often than not, it's the Blu-rays or the 4Ks that take precedence. But yeah, I saw an Eagle DVD and I went, oh, there you go.
We had a fantastic chat with her. We've put the interview in the can. Just for people that don't know how it works, some things come along and take priority. So she's sort of in a couple of weeks' time, a week after Natty Knox drops, to make room for something a little bit more pressing. But she's a fantastic conversation. She's a podcaster too, so she's just used to talking on the mic.
Got the gift of the gab. And now is it Dwight Little that directed that one? Who
Yeah.
did Halloween
Yeah.
4 and 5 and what else did he do? He did a bunch of action films.
Oh yeah,
too.
he did Rapid Fire, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, he did. He did Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee.
He did
Yeah,
Free Willy
absolutely.
2. And the interesting thing is she was in Free Willy 1. And then
Yeah,
Dwight
what
directed
a
Free
weird
Willy
connection.
2. And his stepson is Jason James Richter, which is why he was in Natty Knox. He's a producer as well. Did you recognise
Okay,
him?
Wow, small world. No, I still haven't watched it
Oh,
yet.
okay,
No, I
yeah,
haven't,
right.
I haven't seen it yet. No,
But
I'm
it's
just
got-
excited
got-
that it's getting a release.
Bill Moseley and Robert Englund. It's got it like they've all come back
That's
for Dwight.
great.
And
Very cool, yeah.
And she's got a new movie coming out that I think they're still working on the edit for, which sounds great, like a bit like a
And is this-
vacancy type
She's
thing.
directed this one, another one?
She's co-directed with Taylor Scout Compton.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's a
which,
cool double up.
They
yeah.
host the podcast together.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
okay,
called
yeah, I
something
haven't
like
heard that.
Talk Scary to Me, or that's the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
We did one of their films back in the day, did we not, Ben?
We did
what
her
Among Friends?
Among
or
Friends
something?
that she directed. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. There you go. Probably available on the Monster site for $10. Get on there and grab it.
Oh, I don't know. The Monster Pictures shop has been depleted lately. It's gone through.
Really?
It's gone through a bit of a cull with things shifting
Yeah,
out of
okay.
license and stuff, and so there's not that much there anymore. Like it's a lot of it's kind of last chance.
Yeah.
Last chance
Yeah.
to get it.
Last chance saloon. Okay, so moving on to June 18th, gentlemen. AID have a ton of 4K, first time to 4K local releases. We've got American Graffiti.
Yep.
This is one I have not picked up on import from the States because I did read that the transfer was like super DNR'd. Like it was, everyone looked like wax mannequins. Like, it was Madame Tussauds or something like that. It's horrible. But look, if it's the right price, I'll pick it up locally because I don't think this film's going to get a second chance. I don't think Universal really will sub-license it to anyone. I don't see them double-dipping anytime soon to do it.
But also-
missed opportunity not to do more American
I was about to
Graffiti.
say the exact same thing. Like, why not? God damn it.
Could have at least included it.
Which
like,
was
as
a
special
fairly
feature.
decent film in and of itself.
It was a proper theatrical release. So,
Yeah.
well, you know what? It's someone like Kina Lorber that's going to do it for sure in the States, because they are doing Airplane 2. And, Paramount did the first one. I mean, I don't know if Paramount's going to do the other Naked Guns or not.
Well, it's the Airplane 2 is the other movie that David Zucker refuses to watch.
You
just can't unsee it.
Oh, my God. Bless him.
It's funny. He's doing, how he's doing the rounds, slagging off the new Naked Gun, right?
I've seen it everywhere.
He's giving them the same line he gave me, 4 years ago? You just can't unsee it. Why don't I watch it? Because you can't unsee it. It's like, come on.
Time for David to go into a home, I think.
Time for David to actually catch up on these movies and see that Airplane 2 is fucking great.
Yes, actually, it's a great sequel.
Yeah, there are other people who are good too. It's not just you. You're not the only funny person in the whole world who's ever existed.
No, that's it. Plus, you should be held accountable for your crimes of what you committed to the Scary Movie franchise.
That's the weird thing I find. He's doing all these interviews and they're introducing him the creator of Naked Gun, Flying High, and Scary Movie, David Zucker. I'm like, hang on, back that up.
The Wayans brothers, man. The Wayans brothers. Come on. They got done dirty by old Bob and Harvey over there at Miramax and Dimension on that one.
That's right.
So moving on, Animal House. National Lampoon's Animal House coming out 4K. This is an essential buy. Again, yes, it has been out in the US for 4 or 5 years, and I did buy it 4 or 5 years ago, but it is a must-own. It looks fantastic. It sounds amazing, and it's Animal House.
Yes.
Then AID are also releasing Moon on 4K. Another title's been out for a number of years overseas, but a really welcome release.
I just wouldn't have thought there was demand for that.
Agreed, yeah, I know, it's an odd one. It's not like World of Warcraft or whatever. The Warcraft movie did a lot for old Bowie's son, so much so that people want to dig into his back catalogue of films, but there you go, Moon's coming out. It is a great film. I think it's really like a forgotten type of film as well.
Yeah.
You rarely hear it ever mentioned, but that one's coming out. Then the last release I kind of want to mention that's coming out on June 18th, Time Stalker, which is the new Alice Lowe film, her from Revenge, and I can't even remember. What was the other one?
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Of course.
She's in.
Absolutely.
She's in a bunch of stuff. But she directed
great
Revenge.
Writer, director, actress, yeah.
That's the big one I remember is Revenge, but there's been one since.
There was one in between this and Time Stalker, and I can't remember what it was.
When I went to Fantastic Fest when that movie came out, she was literally in the hotel room next to me, and I, at the time, didn't really know who she was. I was like, oh, she looks familiar. Didn't think anything of it.
She probably had a glass to the wall while you were wanking.
No, well, unfortunately, she would have been in for a rude surprise because that was the one where I had a kidney stone, and so I was in the hotel room moaning, and there's a lot of weird kind of crawling around noises, but it was not in pleasure,
not for the right reason,
not in pleasure.
Now, before I go, guys, I did want to talk about this one. This is the one I did pay my own hard-earned money for.
Of course.
It's the TV Movie of the Week Volume 2
each
set.
time they release a box like that, I just think of you.
Oh, man, it's amazing. There's nothing like a TV movie. It's something that you don't have to give 100% of your concentration. And let's face it, as a father of a newborn, I don't have any ability to concentrate on anything but the baby most of the time. So I was able to give this film, or all three of these films, 65% of my attention at points in time.
There's something wonderful
and
about
I watched them all. And, I refuse to put on anything that I've actually want to watch because I'm scared, I'm not going to watch it. And I don't like to break up the viewing experience when it's a good movie. But these I was able to throw down real fast.
And can I just throw this out to Vision? If you're watching, if you're listening, when you do the next volume, please put Poison Ivy in there, the Michael J. Fox one.
Oh my God, please.
Yeah.
Please. I know I've had a similar thought as well because this volume, the last volume was kind of like mystery and sci-fi, and a kind of like a thriller as well. I think that was the general tone. This one is more to do with sort of serious issues. There's one about pedophilia. There's one about a rapist. And then what was the last one about? Oh, the other one's about an alcoholic. Martin Sheen is an alcoholic.
What are the movies?
Probably lighten the mood. Lighten the mood.
Yeah, what are
Let's
they?
do a comedy box set. Okay, so the Martin Sheen one, Shattered Spirits from 1986.
Great name for an alcoholic movie.
Does it not? Yeah, it's an incredible name. You might remember it. I think it went direct to video here rather than straight to TV. I think it was released through Roadshow. I remember seeing the ad, but I never followed up on watching it. I did watch it, and look, it's probably, in my opinion, it's probably the most competent and best of the lot in terms of just overall production structure, but it's probably the least enjoyable one. Look, my dad liked a few drinks, so I lived with that. I didn't need to see that as a movie, but it does have an absolutely awesome soundtrack, and I don't know how it's been released with all those songs that are in it, but it has. I think it's owned by Multicom, so who knows if they really did license all that music for the release. I don't know. The other two releases, I think, in the box set, Terror Among Us, which is about like a paroled rapist that basically, a leopard can't change its spots, and he goes out there and he continues to do what he does best. Awful stuff. And then the last one is Fallen Angel, which is Richard Masur, from Boogedy, Mr. Boogedy, Bride of Boogedy.
Which is also kind of a pedophile story.
Shoot to kill. Yeah.
And he plays a pedophile in this. And he's
because the other one's a rapist. This one's a pedophile.
Yeah, that's right. This is what he does best.
Yeah.
you got all the quality characters.
Isn't it one of the daughters from
National Lampoon's
Vacation?
Yeah, National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Yeah.
That's the
Dana
daughter.
Hill or whatever her name is. Yeah.
That's the
Dana
young
Barron.
girl
I think
that
Dana Barron.
Yeah,
gets exploited by Richard Masur.
I do remember that one, and they released it PG because that was his way to lure the kids in.
Yeah,
that's a bad joke. That's a bad joke.
But that said, look, what I did was, because I wanted to watch them all as much as one another. So I took them all out of the box and I shuffled them behind my back, and I said to Danny, look, I'm going to drop one behind me, and I've got two.
And she says, we've got a child to look after. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Why are we playing games? Put the movie on. We've got 5 minutes. We can watch 5 minutes. And I said, which one do you want to choose? And she'd already made it pretty clear, maybe not the one about pedophilia, which is completely understandable. She chose the one with pedophilia, unbeknownst to her. So that was the first one we watched from the box set, Fallen Angel. But it is a great set. Unfortunately, as two of the titles are Sony properties, there's no special features. And then I think the one that's the Multicom film, which is Shattered Spirits, has maybe a trailer, and that's it. It's just a bit of a missed opportunity, because it would have been great to have someone like Amanda Reyes or something like Authority on TV movies to contribute something to it. I think that's what kind of lacking about this set, because the other one, Volume 1, was loaded with special features, and this one's sort of lacking. But regardless, I think the actual quality of the films is better in this box set. So
the other one,
anyway, look,
the big would be that Take the Park with Tommy Lee Jones or whatever it's called.
The Park,
is Mine.
The Park is Mine, because that's had a Blu-ray.
Yeah, that has had a standalone release, that one, for some reason.
Kino Lorber did it in the US, so yes, it could come out locally.
They could do Gargoyles.
There's so many great movies.
Yeah, I know. Well, we heard that they were doing a Gargoyles restoration how many years ago, and nothing's come of it. But then another thing is they did a 4K restoration of Assault on Precinct 13 like 3 or 4 years ago, but the people that have done the restoration only own theatrical rights. They can't do home ent. And then whoever's got the home ent rights seemingly wasn't interested. So there's just a 4K restoration of Assault on Precinct 13 collecting dust.
Or an Aussie one with I Live With Me Dad.
Yeah, cornflakes for tea.
Cornflakes for tea.
Yeah. I Live With Me Dad. Mull.
Yeah.
Was Mull made for TV movie?
No, I reckon that was theatrical. Anyway, sorry, Jarret.
I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that one. Anyway, that's it, gentlemen. But this is, I know, obviously being one of these Viavision, they're all individually, got their own little individual cases in there and whatnot. But yeah, it's about the only thing I've watched. And I watched all 3 films in 2 days. It was just something else. I think I almost managed to watch all 3 in 1 day. And that's unheard of.
It never happened.
So
that didn't happen. No. That doesn't happen for me, and I don't have a baby at home.
No, precisely. Yeah, no. But yeah, the beauty of a good TV movie is, like I said, it's like a warm hug. Even if it is about raping,
babies,
pedophilia or drinking or whatever. The good thing about that is you can just watch it, take some comfort in it, and know there's much more worse things going on in the world.
Man, and the best parts of this conversation I cannot clip for TikTok. Thank you very much, Ben.
Yeah, no, it's true. Anyway, shout out to Owen. I know I didn't get this one for free, Owen, but anyway, I hope I've talked it up enough. I think the real selling points are pedophilia, rapist, and alcoholic. Get the box set. Available at all good retailers.
A feel-good trio.
Feel-good retailers. But there is a Volume 3. It has been announced, and it's headed out. I think it's headed out pretty soon. It might even be out as soon as July. I can't recall what the films are, but needless to say, I hope I've seen none of them, because I will blind buy them all. But yeah, until that happens, let's get that bloody Poison Ivy. Let's get this TV comedy box set.
Do a Poison Ivy box set with all of the Drew Barrymore and
the Drew Barrymore and Milano ones.
Tack that onto the end.
Yeah, that'd be
Jamie
great.
Presley.
The ultimate Poison
Nancy
Ivy
McKelvey.
collection.
The forgotten Poison Ivy.
And you can just have all of those sensual ladies, and then Michael J. Fox in those tiny little camp shorts.
Yeah,
sort of standing next to them. It'd be phenomenal. But yeah. Anyway, gentlemen, look, that's it for this month. It is a small array of films that I've selected, but I knew that time is of the essence, and I think the last one we did was like 38 minutes. So
yeah, something like that.
I think this one might be down at about 32 minutes. So fingers crossed. Anyway, gentlemen, until next time,
Stay
physical.
It's Terrific TV Tuesday, the only Tuesday TV segment that drops on a Monday.
It's my favourite time of the show, of the week, of the show. What have you been watching on the old Idiot Box, Glenn?
On the old Idiot Box, well, look, once again another show or documentary series. Really, I'm always torn when it's a documentary series. Like, does this qualify as television? I don't know.
Yeah,
I do like, I did the Fred West one. Is that television because it's a Netflix documentary series? It qualifies.
If it's episodic, really.
I'm fucking like not working on all cylinders this episode. Well, something's gone wrong here. The wires are not connected. Fucking hell.
It's just because I'm hosting. It's completely thrown you off your rhythm.
I'm usually all right when you host. Like, I like it when you host because I don't have notes in front of me. Like, they're blank pages. Like,
They really are blank pages. How am I supposed to cheat? You know what's up next?
That's right. Anyway, I watched the new Pee Wee Herman documentary. So Pee Wee Herman as himself. It's more the Paul Rubens documentary. It's on HBO Max. It's a 4.5, 5 hour, 2-episode documentary that was made unbeknownst to the filmmakers while he was dying. Like, he didn't tell them that he was dying. In fact, he died before they had shot their final interview.
Yeah, right.
But he knew all along, and they didn't, right? And so he, once again, not a spoiler. It sounds like it is, but it's not because it's all over the media. He pulled out of an interview for this documentary saying that he's not feeling comfortable with the direction that's going in. And the documentary does cover a little bit of animosity between him and the filmmaker because he wanted more control than the filmmaker wanted him to have.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Paul Rubens pulled out at some point in time and then went and shot all of this footage on his own and just fucking spewed out a whole lot of personal stuff, which ends up in the documentary. It is a fantastic exploration of his career, right from his childhood, university days, when he got into theatre, all the way through to Pee Wee. The controversies are covered really extensively. It goes for about an hour and a half of just the controversies. He talks about how he was closeted intentionally, like he came out of the closet but then went back in just so he could further Pee Wee. Not so much he could further his career, just so he could further Pee Wee.
Can you imagine that there was a time pre-internet where you could do that?
I know. Well, that he says that too. It's like it's something that you could do because things get forgotten very easly when you haven't got a phone in your hand that you can be reminded all the time.
Yeah, you have to rely on your memory. I'm sure he was gay.
It's got a lot of friends come and talk about him, but it is mostly Paul Rubens direct to the audience, and he is so charming and cheeky. He keeps saying things and recalling stories from when he was going through the early stages of Pee Wee and blah blah blah, and the smirk on his face, you feel like he's a 6-year-old boy, like just really loving the opportunity to tell his story. It's wonderful. If you love Paul Rubens or Pee Wee Herman, you will get a kick out of it. If you don't love him, you might have an appreciation for him, and they really do get into the nitty-gritty of what happened with the controversies and what the real story was as opposed to what the media led you to believe.
Most importantly, do they talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Lovely.
Absolutely. And David Arquette is in it, and they're best mates from the Buffy days, and they were friends for years. And when the second controversy happened, Paul Rubens had Dave Arquette, and he stayed with Courtney Cox and David Arquette, and that's all explored as well. And
was David Arquette in Buffy?
Yeah, he was Paul Rubens turns him into a vampire in Buffy.
Yeah, right.
He's the famous photo of Paul Rubens coming up from behind and getting him on the neck.
On the neck, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I love it. He's got the best death scene in that. He's like, ugh.
Yeah. And they go into blow and all that stuff as well, because that was him trying to resurrect a career. Pee Wee was done.
Yeah.
He couldn't resurrect that in any kind of positive way because it was tarnished. But they do also go into many, many years later, 20-something years later, when he was able to bring Pee Wee back, kind of in his original intention of being sort of adult-orientated.
Yeah.
It was Pee Wee was an adult character for an adult audience before it became a TV show.
I just think he probably couldn't have brought Pee Wee back, like by getting paid for it, but he could probably have gone on YouTube and done it, and all the people who just didn't care.
Oh yeah, possibly
that he was jerking off in it. Like who cares? I really couldn't care.
There was he had a bit of an empire though because he had built this website that was still very child focused.
Yeah,
and I guess the fact that there was still investment in that, but Tim Burton comes back and talks about him and all that. That's really really comprehensive. It's great.
Valerie Galina.
No, I don't think so.
E.G. Daily.
I can't remember
if
she. I can't remember Mark Norton.
Yeah,
I can't. Holton. Mark Holton.
Yeah,
the guy from Leprechaun. I can't remember if E.G. Daily was in this or if she's just been all over my TikToks lately. Yeah, she's somewhere in my zeitgeist at the moment. Yeah. Anyway, check it out.
So you watched something nice and updated and current. I went back because I've just been regressing these last since I turned 40. I went back and watched Supergran, which used to play on the afternoon show.
I remember this.
The ABC. And look, it's I didn't realize it's a Scottish show.
Supergran.
Supergran. And it originally aired between 1985 and 1987. And I mean, if you've never heard of it, it's about this old granny who gets blasted with a ray that turns her into a superhero.
Oh, I do remember this.
And she wears like a I don't even know what kind of hat that is.
It's an old golfer's hat.
A old golfer's hat, yeah.
With the golf ball on top.
But like as fun as the show is, and it's very fast. The dialogue is kind of delivered super fast. It's really over the top, really cheesy. Very much in the same line as Marmalade Atkins' Worst Girl in the World. I was
going to say, this feels like it's in
the
the same...
Raddies and all these kind of...
Feels like it's in the same universe as Wassel Gummidge. And
Yeah. Very much so.
And that was it the cat one that I watched the other week. Oh,
yes. Yeah, definitely. But the best part about it is the theme song.
Oh, yeah?
The theme song is amazing, and it's written by Billy Connolly, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
And it is. I don't think he sings it, but it is. It's based on a bunch of kids' books, which all the kind of TV shows at the time kind of were. But the theme song is so. And I literally haven't heard it in 30 years, and it immediately came back to me.
He's a wonderful songwriter, Billy Connolly, and one of the biggest disappointments of my teen years was I got into Billy Connolly in a big way. And what I loved about Billy Connolly was not only the humor, the fact that he laughed at his own jokes. He was the only comedian that ever cracked himself up, and that appealed to me. So I went and bought it at a live CD. I'm like, oh, Billy Connolly CD, this is going to be great.
50 minutes of him laughing at himself.
No, I had the Rodney Rude ones, I had the Kevin Bloody Wilson, but this was Billy Connolly. Whole thing was just songs. And it was like they weren't comical songs, they were just him singing
songs.
Kind of, whimsical, but
you just bought the wrong album.
In retrospect, years later, it's a great CD.
Hey everyone, this is Justin, baby. Yeah, here to sing the praise of Glenn and Ben. I thought they would always be mine. No, I'm just playing. Love you guys. Here's their latest interview. Enjoy.
We both got to sit down with Josh Ruben this week.
Yeah, what a fun guy this guy is. I had a great time talking to him. Probably more fun this time than I did last time, and that's probably because you were involved.
That's right, I was there, and I bring the fun.
And hey, we've already spoken about the film with Jarret, so there's not much more to say. May as well throw to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
For the past 2 years, a masked maniac known as the Hard Eyes Killer has stalked,
hunted,
and brutally slain couples on Valentine's Day.
With no motive yet uncovered.
G'day, Josh. It's great to be chatting with you again, mate. How are you?
I'm very, very well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We spoke about... Oh, by the way, this is Ben. Ben is the... Sorry, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
How's it going? I wasn't going to say anything the whole interview and just see if it was ever acknowledged and just be like a weird creepy guy that's just there. Yeah. What the publicist who doesn't turn their webcam off.
Hey Josh, we spoke about 3 years ago, I think it was, and that's got me wondering, time wise, was Hard Eyes a thing in your life when we spoke?
No, 3 years ago, I would have been probably fresh off of Werewolves Within and into producing Noah Segan's Blood Relatives and maybe acting in Wounded Fawn 3 years ago, which is
Right.
wild to think 3 years ago went that fast, but terrifying in its own right.
Nevertheless, you had obviously had your juggling things, man. Been busy the whole time.
Yeah, Hard Eyes was a wild one because let's see, it's May 2025. The project was brought to me in I want to say February of 24. Like I pitched to get the job on Valentine's Day, and then it came out on Valentine's Day, February, which is crazy.
Wow,
25.
that's incredible. And so you shot it in New Zealand too, I believe.
We did, yeah. We were Auckland for the shoot, and then we went back actually to Wellington to do sound design at Park Road.
Far out. What did you think of New Zealand?
Loved it. Loved it. Yeah.
It's your first movie so far away from home, yeah? Is there much difference, shooting with a local crew in New Zealand as opposed to at home with, I guess,
I
your
mean,
last two
if
films?
anything, it's the crew is just the perfect balance of not take it too seriously and holy shit, this might be my last job. So it was like perfectly my favorite like cultural balance where everybody's got a sense of humor, but they're also like, a little terrified that it might this might be the last one, but also there might be a football game. So I had a great time. I would go back. Although, of course, there's massive movement to try and get production back in America, especially California, as much as possible, which we're angling for. But I loved the crew. I loved the locations. The resources were crazy. I had a great time.
Bet the food was good too.
Oh, sorry?
I bet the food was good too.
Oh, the food is pretty good. Yeah, you guys do a pretty good toast. I was missing Mexican food by the end, something pretty fierce. But otherwise, like guys do pretty good. Shout out to Baduzzi's on the wall.
Yeah, we've never been able to pull off the Mexican stuff down this way.
It would kill. A guisados down under would do very, very well, I reckon. El Compadre would do fabulously.
It's funny. There must be something in the water in New Zealand because I feel like, there is a bit of a revival of the classic style of slasher movie, and X was shot there as well, and you'd never know. Like there's a way of masking the New Zealand landscape and making it feel like America.
Well, there are a lot of similarities. I mean, especially like, my line producer, Mel Turner did Lee Winnell's Wolfman, and that was very much countryside America. I mean, it looks just like Virginia landscape, a little bit heightened, probably, per his desire for the story. But, I've got a film that takes place in a part of West Virginia where I'm eyeing that part of the world. I'm sure there are definitely far more beautiful topographies down by that part of the world than in America. But it works. It definitely works for certain areas for sure.
Yeah, cool. And I think, it's fair to say there's some big horror pedigree with Hard Eyes because you got Christopher Langdon and Michael Kennedy, as two of the writers. You said that the film you pitched for it. Was it well and truly written by the time you came on board?
It was fully written by the time I came aboard. It was originally written by a guy named Phil Murphy, then Michael and Chris came aboard to rewrite that. And then when I was aboard, I was doing a bit of rewriting pretty much on the fly. And yeah, and then, as the old adage goes, there's the movie you read, then there's the movie you shoot, and there's the movie you edit, and then there's the movie you release. So it's constantly changing. Yeah, it was quite a team. Like we had some real heavy hitters.
You're kind of known for putting a very distinct sort of brand of comedy or humor into your films. Did you have to inject much, or was a lot of it already on the page?
There was a lot on the page. I mean, for me, it's just, as a director, you want to just keep honing and making it sound as specifically you as possible. So, you just kind of go, okay, what's more my voice? What's more my voice? How do we tweak it? How do we tweak it? And then, of course, you have to be willing, especially to let the actors contribute as much as possible so that, they feel they have skin in the game. So it's like working with the best of what Devin likes to play with, and Jordana and Mason and Liv. And that's really the great joy of filmmaking is, your actors feeling comfortable enough to just throw everything kind of out spaghetti at the wall wise, and then I just get to cull, what's working, what's not.
Yeah, very cool. I want to quickly touch upon location here because, once again, Ben and I are in Melbourne, and I think we've only got 2 surviving drive-in cinemas down here. I think there's only 10 across Australia in total.
Oh, wow.
Does New Zealand have any left, or did you have to build that from scratch?
I don't know if they have any left. I'd have to ask my location manager, Phil Aitken, who was wonderful, but we built the drive-in theater in a parking lot near the water. And it was kind of amazing how it all came together. It ended up, how it photographed was just a spectacular, especially with the amount of picture cars that we had, and there are only so many with left-hand drive with left-hand steering wheels. But we built it from scratch, and I couldn't believe it. My assistant director Joe Nolan kept saying, "City of Sales." It's the city of sales. We get 4 seasons in a day, and God forbid the wind takes that projector away or that movie screen. But the wind wasn't too terrible. It was pretty much the only 4 straight days where we didn't get rain. We did get a little bit of drizzle. We were pretty terrified, but what rain we did get gave us a really nice little wet down. And it was just cinema.
Yes. Man, if you were to film in Melbourne, those seasons would definitely take the projector away. I can guarantee it. This production was clearly a much bigger undertaking than Werewolves Within and Scare Me, I assume. Were there any practical things you can think of from those previous 2 movies that you applied to this one? Were there takeaways from those that helped?
I think there are takeaways every time. I think ultimately what you realize is it's all the same game, just with more resources and more people. So it's ultimately, you still stand there with your few actors, your cinematographer, your assistant director, and you kind of go okay, let's just talk this thing out. Let's just see what we want this thing to be and feel like, and kind of that bit of discovery together. I think anything, it's just continuing to lead with vision and specificity and kindness and being able to make fast decisions. That's the greatest, I'd say, bevy of leadership skills to just keep people, happy, keep them happy and caffeinated by being nice and decisive.
Were you going to say something then, Ben?
Not about that. No, I do have questions. Okay. Honest, I promise I do.
Well, throw some in.
That was my kind of question when you get an assignment like this, which is a horror slasher, and there's such a strong history of slasher franchises. Do you have that in the back of your mind when you're kind of working on this one? That how is this going to lead into the second one?
Kind of, I had 2 very specific movies in mind. Rather than just torturing myself, how do I get this as John Carpenter as possible? I had Friday the 13th, Part 6, Tommy McLaughlin's Jason entry, and Nora Ephron just as a ball.
Yes.
So I was like, the great challenge would be, how the hell can I legitimately do a little bit of both? Make this feel like an extension of, Friday the 13th. Or a real Wes Craven, nasty slasher, but also give you the feels. And if anything, as someone who loved those rom-coms, because the rom-coms of the era from when I grew up, I assume from when you guys grew up as well, they really were cinematic and deeply feeling like movies. Pretty Woman is such a movie, the way it looks, the way it moves. My Best Friend's Wedding, Sleepless in Seattle. These movies had flawed characters and beautiful cinematography and anamorphic lenses and quirky characters and beautiful colors. Even movies
it wouldn't take much to twist any of those into a horror film.
That's right. That's actually right. The real success of Hard Eyes, if the franchise were to continue, is that you legitimately try to make a movie that gives you the feels the way that any of those movies would give you the feels, would make you feel swept up by Dermot Mulroney, but also, and charmed by Tom Hanks, but also as terrified and grossed out as anything Wes Craven or John Carpenter ever did at their like gnarliest heyday. So if you go like, what's Bridget Jones's Diary, but her life gets interrupted by Hard Eyes? What's Love Actually look like, but fucked up by Hard Eyes? So that's the real success, is not to ever undercut or shortchange either of the genres.
That's awesome. Oh man,
amazing.
Nora would be proud, mate.
I hope so. I know Tommy's out. It was very cool to talk to Tommy McLaughlin and just connect with him. Yeah,
that's cool. That's very cool. The movie's been pretty well received too across the board. I know that the audience Ben and I saw it with were in hysterics. Like, this was a really great screening. Has this opened the door to perhaps another one or other projects?
There's all kinds of conversation. The trick is the rub is, will it actually happen? When will it actually happen? When will your next thing actually get made? I mean, I've had all kinds of quote unquote promises that haven't quite fallen through, and various attachments, just the usual flurry that happens after your hot shit when you have a movie come out for, you're like the talk of the town for 2 minutes. The trick is, how do you not get excited by IP that you loved when you were a kid that you could easily screw up if you were to like redo it? Where I don't really feel like we need to redo much of the IP out there. I've been so lucky, crazy lucky, to have done essentially original movies through and through. I mean, Werewolves Within is an obscure video game. I hadn't heard of it, and I consider myself to be a bit of a gamer. So it's all talk right now, but I'm grateful for the talk, especially at such a turbulent time in the world and the industry, when arts and grants and such are getting cut, and there's all these sort of questions. But I'm sitting here in my office with all my nerd stuff, though it does not hold a candle to your guys. And I'm very grateful to be writing what I'm writing right now, for sure.
I'm really glad that you said that you're not particularly interested in going into popular IPs. Why do these things need to be done? Because never say never. This video might come back to bite you in the ass, but but that just shows how much integrity you've got, man. Like, horror fans like us appreciate that.
I'm still holding out for a Ghouls and Goblins movie or a Altered Beast.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, if there's stuff that the masses haven't quite heard of, and this is a way to sort of reintroduce or introduce an obscure, almost cult title, I think it's pretty cool. But I'm not as excited by doing another Godzilla movie. Yeah. Because those have kind of found their own momentum. I suppose it would be like having the honor of doing like a James Bond, but I am so enthralled by what Joe Dante and John Carpenter did when I was growing up. I mean, they were so exciting and so propulsive and so original and so fun and so scary and so rewatchable. And so to be able to try and emulate or capture that similar rewatchable escapist genre stuff, that's what I'm in the game for.
Oh man, you've led me perfectly into what was going to be my final question, unless you've got anything else you can add afterwards, Ben. But I was just going to say, I didn't get to ask you last time, and I'm kicking myself. Were there any movies from your childhood that sort of flicked the switch in your head to want to pursue filmmaking?
I mean, it's so trodden to say Jaws. We all say it, but I watched that when I was 6 years old and asked my mom, yeah, there you go, dude. Like, I'm resisting like hell, getting the Lego Jaws set for my office. I don't need it. I love it. But also, between Jaws and my brother and sister introduced Freddy Krueger to me. Like, Dream Warriors was like a cartoon. And so I have, as I call him, Dickworm Freddy, lording over me as I work, and I'm just getting what little work I can done. I loved Nightmare on Elm Street and I loved Jaws, but I loved them as much as I loved, Defending Your Life and An American Tail. Like, I was just as taken by kids' movies and rom-coms as I was by the most eccentric horror movies. I think The Burbs is up there too.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
my letterbox score right there.
Yeah, you're talking our language.
I did just want to ask about kills, because that was one thing that really stood out in Hard Eyes, is the awesomeness of every single kill in it is inventive and extreme, and it's almost like you went. On the page there was and this person gets killed in a winery, and then you went in and went, that's the worst possible way and the most extreme way. I mean, it's like Final Destination on steroids, some of these kills. So can you just talk a bit about how they kind of came about?
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where that's the brilliance of working with like Landon and Kennedy as an example. Is in the script they'll say, Adeline is crushed in a wine press. And then I will take it and go, okay, what's going to make the best version of crushed in a wine press? Well, I want to see the eyeball come at the screen, or I want to really extend the dread and the terror of what it would feel like to be in there as the walls are closing in. And I tell my cinematographer, I want the lighting inside the wine press to feel very Ridley Scott Alien. We kept saying Romulus, Alien Romulus. The trailer had just come out, so we go more Romulus, like the siren light. And the way to, I think, execute the best kills, pun intended, are the specifics. So the more specific you can be, sure, like you can get impaled by a crowbar or by some obscure piece of metal, but how and at what angle and what would that do specifically to which tooth in your mouth? Like the more specific you get, like those are some of the more memorable from even like the newer Halloweens that David Gordon Green did. It was like, yeah, they're pretty exciting, but lifting up a firefighter and impaling him with that specific like firefighting device, the Jaws of Life was it, or I can't recall, or the way that the knife went through the eye. It was the same thing here. It was like there were some articulations and descriptions in the script which were, someone stabbed with such and such or impaled by such and such. Yeah, but how do we bring in the specifics? How do we make the audience recoil? And that's how you get to the place of, I haven't seen that before, or I haven't seen that specific thing before. So there was a good amount on the page. And then, as a director, you just got to run with it and push it and give your special effects team the latitude to be able to have fun with it and not nitpick and, terribly much, other than to say, I want this viscosity of blood or what have you, and take it from there.
But it also seems like then there's the normal amount of blood in a person's body, there's the Army of Darkness amount of blood in a person's body, and then there's the Hard Eyes amount of blood in a person's body, which is phenomenal.
We had the Evil Dead Rise team, like the guys who did the blood and did the effects. It was perfect. I got to just say, well, I love that color, so I know I want the color, and I know I didn't want it too extreme. I mean, it's funny when you start to talk in those decibels, because you really just shoot the most extreme version of it and then pare it back in the edit. The beheading in my movie goes on for at least twice as long in the director's.
We recently spoke to the guys that made Until Dawn, and it's just so good to just have practical effects really creeping its way back in, like it makes all the difference in the world.
It really does. It really does. We can feel it, and that's the stuff we grew up with. And if you're shooting with vision and deliberately and specifically, you won't be wasting money. You won't be leaving money on the table, and you won't be wasting resources. Just be specific. Just commit.
Yep, 100%. Well, mate, we've taken up enough of your time. Hard Eyes is coming out on physical media on the formats, and just can't wait for everybody to, if they didn't catch it theatrically, cannot wait for them to have this in their collection. It'll certainly be going back there somewhere in mine, and I'm sure in Ben's as well. Thanks so much for your time, mate.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
1995, Riverdance, premiered at the Point Theatre in Dublin and went on to become a cultural phenomenon. For the next 24 months, people all over the world danced like dickheads.
The year is 1995.
Thank God, it's the only part of the show where I have notes. So,
so yeah, I have not written down any films.
Okay.
that came out in 1995, except for the top 10
Okay.
and my picks.
Sure.
And my picks for what I think your picks are.
You knew I'd have a comprehensive list.
I knew you would have one.
Yep.
So let's go through the top 10.
All right.
That came out in 1995. Starting with number 10 is Jumanji.
Yep.
Followed by Waterworld, which is an interesting inclusion in this list because it was so expensive. It's always kind of been considered a flop and a disaster movie, yet it's still number 9 in the yearly box office. It turned over $260 million.
Yeah, it's one of those movies too that's it's actually appreciated quite well over time.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
It is. It's really good.
Casper, surprise, surprise. Casper, the Friendly Ghost. 7 at number 7, ironically. Number 6, Batman Forever. How? But I guess because of the Seal song.
Oh, I mean, that was a big deal at the time. The marketing behind that was huge.
It was huge, yeah. It was, for me, because is Batman Forever, had Joel Schumacher already done the one prior?
No, so it was Tim Burton, and then Joel Schumacher.
And then Joel Schumacher, yeah. So for me, it was the end of it. I hated it.
But this also had the Tim Burton flavour. It was kind of both of their styles together, and Tim Burton was still a producer on it. But no, there was a falling out. But I still enjoyed it. It was sort of the last decent Batman movie for a while.
Yeah. Number 5 was Pocahontas.
Yep.
Number 4, The Return of James Bond with GoldenEye. And I think it had been like 10 years prior or something like that.
Feels like it was a long time, but I don't think it was as long like when you actually add it up. I think
it's not as long as it was between Daniel Craig, but prior to that, I think it was the longest.
It would have been
films.
License to Kill was the last one.
Yeah.
Which was 89. So, yeah.
95. So 6 years.
Yep.
Felt
like a long time, though.
Number 3 was Apollo 13.
Yep.
Number 2, Toy Story. And number 1, a movie that does not get really any love on the rep circuit. I've had a couple of people that I've randomly met who have said, oh, you know the guy who works at the Astor? Do you reckon he could play this one? And every time I've asked, it's been met with a resounding no. Why would we do that?
Tell me.
It is Die Hard with a Vengeance. Which I think was the first Die Hard movie I saw theatrically.
Yeah, probably for me too. Why wouldn't you want to screen this one?
It's so good.
I would be I'd be inclined if they could do 1, 2, and 3 because it is a perfect trilogy.
Well, I mean that's the kind of problem with the Astor is when you're at the Astor, you're double features.
Yeah.
Die Hard 1 and 2 makes perfect sense. Die Hard 3, I guess now you can do 4, but 4 kind of works better with 5. Or you just would never play 5.
I'd probably be inclined to do Pulp Fiction and Die Hard with a Vengeance because it's Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
You sell it that way, but just screen it. It's great. It's such a fun movie.
It's so good, so good.
All right, so other movies from that year. Let me just see if I can look at the horror ones here because we're gonna have to appeal to Brody because he's gonna have an opinion and all that kind of stuff. Demon Knight, that's definitely a banger. The Mangler. What else we got horror wise? Lord of Illusions.
Mm-hmm.
That's a banger. I'm going to just lump this in.
Available now through Umbrella Entertainment.
4 rooms because it has some sort of horror aspects to it. Blah, blah, blah. I can't find any more. There's heaps, but I just can't find a Village of the Damned. Candyman 2. Let's go through
Copycat?
Let's go through some others as well. Johnny Mnemonic, Above Suspicion, Braveheart, Boys on the Side, Highlander 3, Murder in the First. I loved that movie when that came out. What else?
I remember loving the trailer for Copycat, just with Harry Connick Jr. licking the knife.
Yeah, it was a terrifying trailer.
Terrifying, yeah.
It really was. 7, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Next Generation, The Usual Suspects, Mute Witness, Hackers, Clockers, The Prophecy.
One of the last truly great Van Damme films, Sudden Death.
Yeah, for sure. We watched part 2 together. Remember? That was interesting. 12 Monkeys, Dead Man Walking, Mr. Holland's Opus, How to Make an American Quilt, which was Jocelyn Moorhouse.
Yeah, that was a real disappointment to me.
It was considering she came off the back of Proof, which was such an amazing Aussie film, and then she went, I didn't mind it, but Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, Heat, there's so many. But let's just go straight to the fun part of the show where we just have to guess each other's.
All right.
And look, I know I left out a lot. I've got over 100 titles here.
There's a massive list, but I think it's funny to go in dry, as they say. So for my picks for what you went for.
Yep.
So you've mentioned one, Demon Knight.
Right, that's in there.
Muriel's Wedding.
No.
No, you talk about it all the time.
I don't.
You do.
I don't.
You do.
I don't.
Hey, I'm the one listening. You talk to it about it all the time. And the other one's Clockers.
Oh, that could have been in there very easily. It's not.
It's not. Those are my 3 picks for you.
You got one right.
Demon Knight?
Yeah. Before I guess yours, I'll tell you my other ones. Smoke.
Oh, well, I saw Blue in the Face there. I didn't see Smoke.
Yeah. Well, they came out the same year.
Yeah, right.
Because they were made at the same time. They had leftover money for the budget and 2 days to spare. So they shot the sequel with that time.
Right.
Then I got Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Right.
And Higher Learning. So there's 4 there.
Oh, the John Singleton
Yeah, I
movie.
love Higher Learning. I think it's a very underrated movie.
I mean, mainly because it features Jennifer Connelly. Is it Jennifer Connelly going down on Christy Swanson? Like, talk about genius.
But you had Ice Cube in there. Michael Rappaport was terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
But what happens to him? You feel bad for
Yeah,
him 'cause
it's a
he's-
great character. It's terrifying, what happens to him and how he's sort of conditioned or... Not even conditioned, but he's sort of...
But you just feel like... You
he's
just
a
feel
victim.
sorry for those people who just can't... They're kind of...
They're socially awkward.
Yeah, they're just they're always kind of a victim.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever it is they do, they're too desperate for positive attention.
As is the case with like a lot of, school shooters and whatnot. They're
Yeah.
victims up until the end. And,
That's the only way that
in
they
their
can-
brain, it's their redemption. But, that makes them just villains. But, great film. Let's go through some Aussie ones. I forgot that. Angel Baby. Babe. Remember Billy's Holiday?
I do remember Billy's Holiday.
Dad and Dave on our selection. The Final Stage. Hotel Sorrento. All Men Are Liars. It's not the strongest Aussie. And, of course, Muriel
Tony
Wedding.
Perrin, Simon Bissell, and John Jarrett as Elvis impersonators.
Yeah. I feel like, now that you mentioned it, I feel like we mentioned Muriel's Wedding last week because you know how sometimes the lists don't align. Like, it might be the American versus Australian date. Maybe that's why you think I talk about Muriel's Wedding a lot because I spoke about it last week.
No, I think you talk about it a lot because you talk about it a lot.
Somebody go through our episodes and find out because I don't remember. Well, should we see what the boneheads think?
Hang on, what about me?
Oh, you've got to...
Jesus Christ.
Hey, I told you the wires are not connecting. Something wrong with me on this episode.
Should we just spend a bit more time talking about Muriel's Wedding? Is that the problem?
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. This is an episode for the ages. All right, I'm going to guess Empire Records.
Yeah.
Is that one of them?
That is one of them.
First Night.
No.
No?
You know my rule. You know my rule about movies, right? I don't like movies where a certain thing happens.
Yeah, that is true.
And what's First Night about?
But yeah.
That.
But you also like the genre, so,
Yeah. And I like Sean Connery.
Yeah, I know. All right, what about Demon Night?
That's quite possibly would have been on my list, but I didn't put it on my list because I thought it would be on your list.
Okay. And Rob Roy.
No, funnily enough.
Okay.
Although I do like that scene where Brian Cox wants to drink Tim Roth's piss because it'd be 90% full, 90% proof.
You could light it on fire.
You light it on fire, yeah.
So that's a question I have for you. Like, what would you take between Braveheart and Rob Roy?
It's probably Braveheart.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a more fun. Like, it's not. Despite what happens, it's still not as harsh as Rob Roy.
Yeah, right. Fair.
Though I do like how he wins in the end.
Yeah, okay.
Like the way he does it. I always thought that was clever. I was like, why does he give a fuck if his hand's being cut? Yeah. So I had Roommates as my.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would never.
Which I do talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm. And yet I can't remember you talk about that at all.
Because it's one of the great Debbie Sweeney movies. That and Cutting Edge. I think it's on my letterbox. I think it's in the 4 films on my letterbox.
Have never looked at your letterbox.
The Usual Suspects.
Yep. Okay.
And the Empire Records, and then I also had in Devil in a Blue Dress.
Okay, would never have guessed.
Get Shorty. And Mr. Holland's Opus. But Mr. Holland's Opus is a funny one. I used to love it. And the more I watch it, the more you realise that he's just a cunt all the way through it.
He is. I watched Mr. Holland's Opus about 4 weeks ago. My wife and I put it on, more for me. Like, I just wanted to watch it. And I've always loved the film. There's always been one section of the film I hate, should not be in there. I felt just as passionately about it now as I did then. And that's the...
Is it?
No,
this part? No,
no. It's there when he falls for his student, and they almost have a thing, right? Alicia Witt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She comes onto him, and then they had this moment at the bus stop where he wants to kiss her, but he doesn't, and he goes, "We can't do this," and she gets on the bus and goes, right?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Alicia Witt. Sorry, it was the chick from Uncle Buck, the daughter from Uncle Buck.
Yeah, really?
Yeah,
I don't remember that part
She's
at
the
all.
talented student, and he sends her on her way to Broadway. But
Right.
there's that moment when he really wants to fuck her, right?
Yeah.
And the wife finds out. Is it Glenn Headley?
Glenn Headley, yeah.
Headley, yeah. And
Glenn Headley.
yeah, Headley. So she gets upset because she finds he's writing a composition, and it's called So and So's Story or whatever. She goes, "Who is it?" And he goes, "Oh, it's just someone I saw in the newspaper." And then they meet, and she realizes he's written a whole composition for this girl that he fell in love with. That doesn't belong in the film. And it shits me every time I watch it. It feels so icky to me.
So you know what really shits me? I don't even remember that part.
Yeah.
So it didn't have much of an impact on me. But the stuff with his son
Cole.
and his beautiful when he does the beautiful boy,
Cole.
yeah, and you go, it's such a cunt act
Oh, yeah,
because you've
yeah.
treated this kid like shit his entire life because he's deaf,
Yeah.
and all you give a fuck about is music.
Yeah.
And it's just such a horrible.
And it's funny because like Richard Dreyfuss classically plays cunts, right? He loves to play the asshole, and he plays the asshole well. Even in Mr. Holland's Opus, he plays asshole well.
Yeah.
But it's not a redeeming quality. Like, he just... Yeah, at the end, we're supposed to love him because he's done all this for the community and everyone comes together and rallies
he's
behind him.
given so much for
It's
his
like,
students and
man,
nothing to
you've
his...
been such a prick the whole way through this. Thought about no one but yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And poor, what's his name? Is the principal as Gene, the assistant principal.
William H. Macy.
William H. Macy. With his buzz cut and his...
And the dude that plays the coach, he's good.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what that guy's name is, but I love him in everything he's in.
Yep.
And is it Olympia Dukakis is the
principal.
The principal
Yeah.
originally, and then she retires.
Yeah, and William H. Macy was the vice principal that steps
Yeah.
up. Yeah. Far out. Man, we could do a whole episode talking about Mr. Holland's Opus. Directed by Stephen Herrick, who did Bill and Ted and a bunch of others. Like, he had a little bit of a run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's see what the Boneheads had to say.
Finally.
Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Fun Size. And this week, 1995. There was a good amount of movies that didn't suck, but not necessarily 94. Who wants to go first?
Wait, did you say 94 or 95?
95. I said it just wasn't quite as good as 94. 94 had all those classic films, but 95 has some good ones. Who?
I got to go with my 95. It was a struggle because there's three just amazing to me, but I got to go with the one to just the pure artistic vision of this was amazing. I got to go with The City of Lost Children by Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro.
That's the reason why I had my second one pulled up.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I've showed it to my kids, and even though they're not into other movies with a different language, they got absorbed into The City of Lost Children just because of the visuals, the story, the little girl who's, it's about a little girl trying to find her brother. It's an old crazy man who's stealing children's dreams to maintain his youth, to go back to his youth. I mean, and that's just a very basic description of what this movie is. I mean, there's so much going on. Ron Perlman as the strong man. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, everything about it's beautiful. I could sit here and talk about City of Lost Children for a long time, but because we got such a short time frame, I'm just going to jump to Joe.
I was going to pick the best movie ever made, and when I say that, I actually completely forgot the smart-ass thing I was going to.
Johnny Mnemonic. You were going to say Johnny Mnemonic.
I actually love movies about dead kids, so I was going to say Casper, especially with the ones that are murdered. But what I really have to go to is I went to the theater and saw this on a Friday night at Fuga's. I think I had a girlfriend at the time. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure she went with me. And I didn't know anything about the director. I hadn't seen his breakout indie hit. But Desperado, that first 10 minutes of Desperado, Robert Rodriguez, is hard to beat. The whole bar scene with Steve Buscemi, actually it's Steve Buscemi, or Buscemi, that's what it is. I've been saying it wrong for 30 years. I didn't know it till the other day. Unfortunately, the movie never quite catches up to that first 10 minutes.
No, but I still think it tells a great story.
It tells a great story. It's a second feature from a guy where you go, oh, that guy's here. He's present. And he's going to be here for a while. And Robert Rodriguez is still making movies. He's still directing. if you don't know who he is, Spy Kids, From Dusk Till Dawn, he is still active and very much in the film community. So if you've never seen Desperado, if you don't want to do anything else, watch that first 30 minutes. At least watch it up till the bartender never gets killed.
Honestly, this is not the best movie for me of this year, but it's one that I have to mention. I made a crack about Johnny Mnemonic. I could also go with Virtuosity in these pre-Matrix days for movies that played around with the idea of technology run amok.
Well, that dude was hot off the Lawnmower Man, the director, Brett Leonard, I think.
But I'm actually going to go with one that nobody talks about. I think Chad and I have talked about it a few times. It's not the best movie of the year. It's just got some of the most quotable lines. Nick of Time, Johnny Depp, and Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken has, a 2-minute monologue where he talks about having to kill his Irish friend.
Yeah.
And that 2 minutes is some of the most quotable. So if you've never seen the movie, that scene, I loved him. You know what I did? You killed him. Yeah, I put a bullet in him because the order came down. I loved it. I mean, just that entire thing where he tells the story of killing his friend to drive home the point that he has no problem killing this man's daughter is some of the most, fun's not the right word, but it's Christopher Walken just going full tilt. I don't care. I'm going to kill whoever I want to kill, and you won't stop me unless you do what you're told to do. It's not the best movie of the year, but there's times when I literally just quote it.
Just two things about it. One, I actually stayed at the hotel where they shot the most of that films and when I was in Los Angeles. And two, I love the fact that it's one of those movies where it says, okay, you have this time frame to do this job, and the movie is exactly that long. And I love that aspect of it.
John Badham directed it.
By the way, my special shout out is Die Hard with a Vengeance. My favorite Die Hard in the entire series. I know one is still amazing, but I love Die Hard with a Vengeance.
This has been Bonehead Weekly Fun Size.
And that's 3 picks for Mura's wedding. Funny enough, all 3 of them.
Oh my god!
It's amazing.
So what? Keep going. That was good.
I mean, Chad, Mura's wedding. Joe, Mura's wedding. James, they've never all agreed. Amazing.
It is, except for the fact that everybody just heard their actual selections. It's a great joke, though. It's a good bit.
It's a good bit. I just hear what I want to hear, which is just Mura's wedding talk.
Let's do it.
Are you not going to do the...
No, your little bit was so good, I'm leaving it in.
Oh, no. That part I thought you were leaving. I was waiting for you to go.
I know you were. I'm like, no, just keep going.
It's movie battles time.
Yeah.
What time is it, Glenn?
Movie battle time.
What's the sound effect that goes with movie battles?
Pew, pew, pew.
That's what I wanted.
Fight. And you weren't going to let it go.
I wasn't going to let it go until you did it.
My headphones keep falling off. This is a fucking debacle of an episode. All right.
This week,
it's because I haven't got a hat on. That is what it is. I haven't got a hat on.
Your mojo.
How do you function every week?
You're like Samson without his ponytail.
How do you function every week?
I don't know.
I don't even have one I can grab.
I don't function every week. I think that's the secret. It hasn't changed because I've always been this this much of a mess.
Have you ever been in this room and there hasn't been a baseball cap at your disposal, like right there? There's always a baseball cap around, but there isn't. It would improve the show dramatically
if I just had one, yeah.
All right, sorry, keep going. What's this week's battle, Ben?
It's Muriel's Wedding versus Love Serenade. No.
I was hoping for Hotel Sorrento.
Hotel Sorrento. What's that? Last Days of Chez Nu. No, it's Trespass from 1992 versus Judgement Night from 1993.
It's very obvious why you've picked these two, but do you want to explain it?
If I have to, you're listening to the wrong show.
All right, moving on. Let's just get into it.
They're both movies about people who witness crime in a nefarious part of town and then have to escape.
Get away from the bad guys.
From the bad guys.
And these guys are just regular blokes.
They're just, yeah. So in Trespass, they're a couple of firemen. And in Judgment Night, they're just a bunch of friends on their way to
a long overdue hangout.
Boys now, they're driving to Los Angeles or something?
They're off to a game.
Las Vegas for some kind of boxing match. That's right, for fight night.
Yep.
So
I don't know why it's called Judgment Night though. That's a really shitty title, to be honest with you.
It's a bit odd, isn't it?
I have interesting opinions on this because the film that I thought was going to trump it in, it's vice versa.
Vice versa.
Yeah, having watched them again recently, I have different opinions.
So Trespass, 1992, directed by Walter Hill, the man behind Streets of Fire and The Warriors and whatnot.
And heaps of others.
Stars Bill Paxton, William Sadler, Ice-T, Ice Cube. So this is the first movie I think they both were in together. Glenn Plummer, Tony Lister Jr. And it's basically two firefighters find a map to buried treasure, but get caught up with a gang who, in the same ruins that they're kind of searching for this treasure, kill someone.
The treasure is essentially in an old abandoned industrial complex or building.
It was an old apartment block, but it's now just a shell.
Yep.
Judgment Night, directed by Stephen Hopkins, the man behind Predator 2, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Child, and a host of other films. 24. Stars Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Jeremy Piven, Stephen Dorff, Dennis Leary, and Peter Green. And they play Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Jeremy Piven, and Stephen Dorff are four kind of childhood friends who haven't caught up in ages because Emilio Estevez has just had a baby and is not allowed to leave the house. And the passive-aggressive shit his wife gives him at the start of the film for daring to go out.
And then she laughs it off like she was joking in the end, but she wasn't joking.
Yeah, totally. They take a motorhome to Vegas.
That's the
and of
weirdest
course,
part.
there's a traffic jam, so they decide to go off freeway.
Shortcut.
And end up in a bad part of town where they think they've hit someone, but it turns out he's actually been shot by Dennis Leary, gang member Dennis Leary and his cronies. And they kind of destroy the motorhome. They crash the motorhome, and they have to take off into the tenement buildings. And everyone in the tenement buildings knows you mind your own business. You don't stick your neck out. So they're basically, off their home turf on the run from a gang.
Yep, perfectly done. Both very similar movies in that regard. So
I'm curious. So which one did you think was going to be the one that you liked?
So going into this, based off just my memory of both films, also the poster art, because I think Judgment Night has a very DTV kind of look. Trespass had a very cool theatrical kind of vibe going about it. And I thought Trespass was going to be my favourite out of these two. And I watched that maybe 3 nights ago, and I was bored shitless. First 15 minutes, not a problem, but then it's just more of the same. And I got bored with them being in the situation. Judgment Night, on the other hand, it was kind of the opposite. It was like, okay, the start of it's, it's some good banter. But once they get into the thick of it, I'm like, wow, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm loving every bit about this. Dennis Leary shouldn't be the lead gangster. He doesn't fit the role, but yet he's so good in it.
It's like there's that movie which I can't remember if it's Trial of the Incredible Hulk or it's one of the Incredible Hulk Bill Bixby movies.
Yeah.
And it's got Charles Napier and Tim Thomerson. And Tim Thomerson is the main bad guy, and Charles Napier is his crony.
Yeah.
And Charles Napier is a foot taller than Tim Thomerson.
Yeah.
Built like a brick shithouse. And all of the scenes where Tim Thomerson has to intimidate Charles Napier, you go, no.
Yeah.
This is not. It should have been switched, and Peter Green should have been the main bad guy with Dennis Leary as the comedy relief sidekick.
So I love Judgment Night out of these two. They're both good movies. Don't get me wrong, but Judgment Night just really hit the sweet spot for me. But what I found interesting, I didn't know this. Well, I knew that Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale had written Trespass, which is an odd film, for them to be behind. But they wrote it in the 70s.
Yeah. It's another one that's kind of like Die Hard in that it went through a lot of different hands. And the whole reason that Walter Hill took it on is because he just wanted something that was really straightforward that he could just shoot down and dirty.
Yeah, and quickly. Yeah, 100%. It's just an odd one for Zemeckis and Bob Gale to be one. These are the guys that made Back to the Future, for fuck's sake. It's such a strange one.
Yeah, but aren't they also... Didn't Zemeckis also do... Is it Richard Donner I'm thinking of? Didn't he do Tales of the Crypt episodes and stuff?
So Walter Hill, David Giler, Zemeckis, and...
Which is the one that's married to the shrink from Lethal Weapon? Is that Zemeckis?
No, I thought that was Donner.
Maybe it's Donner.
No, because he was married to, wasn't it Lauren Schild Donner or whatever, the producer? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, they all produced Tales from the Crypt together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, what am I getting at? Judgment Night.
So Judgment Night for you. See, look, I'm kind of torn. Like I watched Judgment Night, and for me, it dragged a bit. And Jeremy Piven, who I love in 90% of films,
triggered.
Yeah, he gets to be he's quite annoying in this.
He's really annoying. I find him annoying when he plays these smart ass cunty characters, and in this one he really he doesn't go full retard, he goes full cunt.
The thing that's so weird about this is that he's basically playing the same character as he plays in Grosse Point Blank, yet he's so much more entertaining and likable in Grosse Point Blank.
I think what annoys me more about just like the arrogant sort of nature of his characters in these sort of films is when he's in panic mode.
Yeah.
He gets like a hypertension kind of thing going on, and he's
the ADHD, which is the worst of Ari Gold too.
Yeah, like this. It's like I can't stand watching him. And then when he tries to negotiate with the bad guys on the roof, it's like it's just so bad.
Yeah.
But Emilio Estevez saves this one, and I believe he saved the movie. Like he was not the original choice for the lead, and he came in at the last minute.
The thing that I don't want to. It's not like I don't think it's a great movie. I did enjoy it. I think. Look, Trespass for me probably takes the win, despite the fact that Bill Paxton is so wussy and wimpy in the film. Like he just stop. He looks like he's about to burst into tears the whole time.
He's a very toned down version of every other character he's played.
He's played, yeah. I just a bit more us. Like these guys are firemen. They risk their lives all the time.
I agree with that, but I like seeing him in this role though.
Yeah, look, it's and he's definitely the kind of good guy.
Yeah,
in it. But what I didn't like about Judgment Night is there's all of this stuff with Cuba Gooding Jr. talking up Emilio Estevez, like, the thing I know, he was a tough guy.
He was a badass back in the day.
Yeah, and all this kind of stuff. And he does, even when he does step up finally at the end, he's still not that tough or not that.
He's still reluctant to.
He's still, but even when he's kind of like, fully committed to saving them.
It's quite funny though when Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character decides to try to step up, and he's not good at it. Like he turns into an asshole. Yeah,
it's so weird because there's a scene where they get into it. There's a bit of a road rage incident, and Cuba Gooding Jr. is the man during that scene.
He saves the day,
and then it completely disappears later on in the film.
Yeah, but that moment implies too they have a history. These two, yeah. There you go. We disagree on the outcome of that one, so it's a tie, but. I don't think there's a right and wrong answer, really. They're both
no, of course
good.
not.
Yeah, but if you've seen these, let us know what you thought of them in the comments, and if you haven't, go and do a battle, do a movie battle. Pew pew. Do I have to do it?
You got to do it's that time, Glenn.
What was that? I feel like I'm watching Congo.
I was watching some of the SNL scenes, most famous breaks on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And there's the one where Dana Carvey plays George Bush and Will Ferrell is George Bush, George W. Bush, and he slaps him, but the sound effect doesn't happen. And so Will Ferrell doesn't react. He was like, "Whoa, what? You just just a fly." So good.
Dearie me.
So here's a rapid fire recommendation.
Thank God I'm ready to put this episode to bed. Not my day.
What have you got, Glenn?
All right, 1982. It's a movie called Motherlode. Have you seen it?
It rings a bell.
It's another treasure hunt movie because I've been in the mood for treasure hunt movies. 1982, directed by Charlton Heston. And it was written by Fraser Heston, his son. And it stars Nick Mancuso.
Nick Mancuso, yeah.
And Kim Basinger.
The guy from Under Siege, the dodgy CIA man from Under Siege.
Yeah, that's right. And look, it's a really interesting film. Do you remember Alaska that Charlton Heston was in? It was a 1995 movie, speaking of 95, or 96, with Thora Birch. That was directed by Fraser Heston. It was all about two kids lost in the wilderness looking for their dad, and it was...
No, I don't remember that one.
Charlton Heston played like an old poacher or arms dealer or something that chases them.
Right.
This movie feels like a companion to that.
Yeah, right.
And it all takes place in, I think it's the Alaska wilderness. It was shot in British Columbia.
I remember, was this a roadshow tape?
Maybe, I don't know. I really not had much knowledge of it other than the fucking amazing poster.
Right.
Which would have been on the screen so you can have a look. And it's Lode, so it's mother lode, spelt that way. But it is essentially about a man goes missing in the wilderness, and his wife and a pilot decide to go and look for him in their little aeroplane. They crash the aeroplane, and then from there they hike up into the wilderness, but trying to find this guy who presumably was treasure hunting.
Yeah. It was a roadshow.
Yeah.
Roadshow, the old roadshow VHS tape. That's why the film is familiar.
Great image. But the husband was, apparently, looking for gold, the treasure. So they pick up, looking for him, and they also pick up the scent of the trail looking for this treasure. But they run into a hermit, played by Charlton Heston, who is very mysterious. Like, there's something not quite right about him. Like, all bloody old timers, like,
like every
gold up there.
Every Charlton Heston in every movie.
Yeah, with the fake beard and all that, which he has. But it turns out that he has something to do with the disappearance of this guy, and it's all about the stake, the gold, the gold that he's claimed and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it turns into a bit of a thriller and a whodunit, but it's just quite wonderful. Like, it's a 1980s film, but it kind of has a classic 60s feel about it.
Right.
And I liked it. But I must say that Charlton Heston playing this old-timer reminded me a lot of Kirk Douglas playing the old-timer in Man from Snowy River.
Yeah.
It's very similar. And they came out around the same time.
So it was just, and they're all buddies.
And Charlton Heston plays two roles in this, as did Kirk Douglas.
It'd be much better if it was Burt Lancaster then, because then they could just be tough guys.
Yeah, but look, I was really starved for a good treasure hunt movie. I went through a few, just wasn't cutting it for me. What was the other one? Something Buck Tennessee was another one.
Yeah.
I just kept going through all these shit ones, and I'm like, man, I just need a good one.
Buck Tennessee. What's the other? Like Jake Speed.
Yeah.
Also sucks.
And I just kept watching them, and I'm like, man, there really aren't many good ones. But this one,
Sweet Revenge.
Yeah,
is another one.
This one,
Toy Soldiers.
I'd put
not
this,
that. The other Toy Soldiers.
I'd put this in the better camp.
In the top tier.
Yeah, mother load.
You should have just watched Atlantis, the Disney movie. That's a great treasure hunt movie.
I've watched them many times, 1 and 2. Jim Varney, everybody, Cookie. It's a great movie. And Michael J. Fox.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
He's Milo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're doing the voice, no one can see you shake.
He just needs to be in a handheld shaky cam movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And he just needs to have a personal auto stabilization device. So.
Yeah, just syncs up with his shakes. He was in Blue in the Face.
So harsh. Poor Michael Jackson. Yeah, poor Michael Jackson. I'm sticking to that. We did talk about this earlier this week. I had plans. I had big plans. I like to watch a movie of the year that we're doing. And I had a whole bunch of movies in my watch list.
Yep.
I didn't watch a single one of them. But last week,
I hope this is where I think it's going.
I did manage to watch Puppet Masters.
Oh, no, it's not. Not where I thought it was going.
From 1994. So it's one of last week's.
Bit disappointed, but okay.
Films, which is, it's a Robert Heinlein concept, but it's pretty much a body snatchers movie. Alien spaceship crash lands in a Idaho farm, and Donald Sutherland, who is like the president's, head man on extraterrestrial life, travels out there with his son, who was like an ex-army kind of special forces CIA agent man, and they have, of course, a troubled relationship. Heads out there with him, played by Eric Thahl, who's been in a bunch of stuff, but I still, for some reason, just do not recognize him. But when I looked him up, I'm like, geez, this guy's in a lot of stuff. And Julie Warner, who's the his science, is the science expert. And they find the town. There are a couple of boys who are basically they're not charging entry into the alien spaceship or the crash site, but it feels like they are. But of course, what they're doing is they're converting, shall we say, everyone in the town, and like all good body snatcher movies, it spreads, and people become. They become
Entities.
the puppets.
Yeah.
They become the puppets for these little aliens, which are like these slugs that sit on their back. The thing that's really interesting about this film is it's got this major cast in bit parts, like real bit parts.
Yeah.
Like Keith David.
Yeah.
Young Keith David. Richard Belzer.
Which David is he?
The They Live one.
Oh, okay. So he directed Tennessee Buck or Buck Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah, because he is the character.
No, that's the other one.
Oh, fuck's sake. All right.
That's the ginger. This is the one from...
Fucking hell.
Yeah. No, this is the other one. Will Patton, because this is the era when Will Patton's playing like scientist. He's always playing like scientist side characters.
Can I just say, those guys fuck everybody over all the time.
All the time, yeah, they do. But Richard Belzer, I don't think he has a line of dialogue in the film.
Oh, really?
He's like just the chauffeur.
Okay.
And he's the first kind of one of Donald Sutherland's team to get taken over by an alien.
Yep.
Yaphet Kotto, who also I don't think has any, like if he has dialogue, he's got like one line.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Bell pops up. But it's not as good as Invasion of the Body Snatchers or...
it's a low rent version of those.
It definitely is, yeah. But it's very similar to kind of the Brain Eaters and stuff. This script or the idea of this has been around as well, like just as long as the other ones that just didn't get made for whatever reason, and eventually did. I remember it coming out roughly around the same time as Virus, which was kind of another one that's
I'm
similar.
not a huge fan of the genre, although there are some I like. But the ones I do like of this kind of thing are the teen ones from the 90s, like the Faculty,
Disturbing Behaviour.
Like I like those ones.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Maybe just it was the right time.
Well, because I mean, because the Disturbing Behaviour is Stepford Wives kind of.
Yeah.
And they're all like, but they're all the same.
It's humans being used. You know?
Yeah, Stepford being replaced by something, by an entity.
But you know what?
You know, definitely.
I thought you were going to go with Meatballs too, and I was so excited.
No, I do.
I thought that's going to work in with the Paul Rubens thing perfectly.
No, I only just saw that clip. That clip that I sent you, I saw it that day, and I'm like, I've got to track it down because I don't have a copy of it.
Aliens come to Earth and send their little alien son to summer camp.
That's right,
because he needs to learn how to get along.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a funny movie!
I reckon. Well, that should be a versus with like Mac and Me or something.
Yeah. Yes. And I love though that Paul Rubens is in that, and so is Wayne from the Wonder Years, and they were in Pee-wee's Big Adventure together.
Wayne's in something else too.
Oh, he's in quite a few things. He was in Little Spies, which is a great one.
Yeah.
He's now a lawyer in Hollywood. Works for the studios.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Anyway.
I wonder if I type in Wayne from Wonder Years.
I think his name's Jason Hervey. Just type in.
I'm in Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. So
Wayne from Wonder Years. What are you going to find out?
Jason Hervey.
It did get the. There you go. Got a cast. Jason Hervey. There he is.
Bring him up.
Look at him now. He's cool. He's still got all his hair. The son of a bitch. He had a couple of wives.
Go to filmography.
He's got 4 kids. He's on the reality show. Hogan Knows Best. Scott Baio is 45 and single. Ooh. Confessions of a Teen Idol.
Look at the name of his first short film. Eggo Waffles.
Eggo Waffles, Little Brothers.
Frankenweenie.
Yeah, Buddy's Sister, Frankenweenie. Police Academy 2.
Yeah, Back to the Future. He was at the family table.
Yeah.
Flies.
There he is in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Monster Squad.
Yep.
Trading Favors.
He had a future ahead of him. He chose to go down like a professional path.
Is it Sidekicks?
Yeah.
Oh. Fast Times, the TV show. Punky Brewster.
9 episodes of Different Strokes.
He was in Kids Incorporated.
Yeah. See, a bit of a little legend, this guy.
Oh, Baywatch Nights, the Baywatch detective show spin-off.
Remember that?
Dying to see
Remember
that.
when they did the Aussie Baywatch too?
Yeah. Oh,
man.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
That was the whole idea, was that it was going to spin off into Baywatch Down Under.
Yeah.
And then at last minute they went, nah, we don't like this, and they did Baywatch Hawaii instead and just made the Aussie one like a TV movie.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, we're rambling. Let's wrap it up. Got to go.
Got to end the show.
Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to do our socials and click that little bell on YouTube because that notifies you when new content drops. All right, Ben, let's go find me a hat. See ya.
You can wear me as a hat.